Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're diving straight into a pretty profound and honestly highly practical framework for achieving genuine psychological stability. It's built on some brilliant analysis by thinker Ali Mohammed Al-Shurafa Al-Hammadi, taking a fascinating look at how we can apply ancient texts to some very modern problems. Let's get right into it. We've got to start with this glaring modern paradox. On the one hand, we literally possess unprecedented material wealth, power, and luxury. I mean, we've got more everyday conveniences than any previous generation in human history. And yet, right alongside all of that, we're plagued by constant anxiety, fear, instability, and just a deep sense of emptiness. It's kind of the ultimate irony of modern life, isn't it? We have absolutely everything, but somehow we often feel like we have nothing at all.
Which naturally leads us to a pretty critical question. If money, fame, and all this material abundance aren't the magic cure for our restless minds, well, we really have to ask ourselves, where does true happiness actually hide? If the secret to true peace doesn't reside in our bank accounts or our physical possessions, where is it?
Well, through the Al-Risalai El-Alamiyya Foundation, Al-Hammadi offers up a distinctly non-traditional answer to this age-old question. He introduces what he calls a highly practical map of happiness. And we're not just talking about abstract philosophical musings here. He frames this as a concrete guide, an actual roadmap drawn directly from a Quranic perspective, intended to treat the human being as an entire unified whole. We're talking body, mind, and society.
To fully unpack this framework, we're going to navigate through 6 critical waypoints: the modern material paradox, redefining true happiness, the ultimate life manual, defeating existential anxiety, society, resilience, and purpose, and finally, resetting your inner compass.
Section 1. Redefining true happiness, moving beyond the illusion of material wealth.
Right off the bat, the text completely redefines happiness for us. It entirely shifts the focus away from what you own outwardly and places it squarely on how aligned and at peace you are inwardly. True happiness here is defined as being psychologically sound, having a clear moral compass to guide your everyday steps, and just feeling fundamentally reassured about your ultimate purpose in life. It's entirely about being reconciled with yourself rather than simply accumulating more stuff. And the core takeaway here is just so profound. Psychological misery is born from an absence of purpose and direction. It doesn't come from an empty bank account. The text makes the case that the massive void people feel today, it isn't a financial gap, it's a meaning gap. You simply cannot buy your way out of existential dread. You've got to navigate your way out using a moral compass.
Moving on to Section 2, the ultimate life manual, the Quran as a comprehensive methodology.
Now, a really crucial point here is exactly how we perceive the source material itself. The author challenges a lot of common misconceptions by contrasting two very different views. Rather than looking at the text as just a collection of rituals or abstract sermons, which, let's be honest, is a pretty common framing, Al-Hammadi frames the Quran as the ultimate operating manual. Think of it like a comprehensive catalog designed specifically to organize, manage, and elevate human life on Earth before the hereafter. It is presented as a totally practical guide for optimal human functioning.
This whole perspective is anchored by a really pivotal verse. Whoever follows my guidance will neither go astray nor suffer. This essentially acts as a divine guarantee within the text. It's saying that following this operating manual literally protects humanity from existential suffering. And the logic is pretty straightforward, right? The creator of any system is the one who knows best exactly how that system operates. Follow the manual they provided, and you prevent the user, in this case us, from going astray or just breaking down entirely.
Section 3. Defeating existential anxiety. Finding tranquility through divine care.
So by consciously recognizing that a fundamentally wise and merciful creator is the one managing the universe, the text argues that our paralyzing fear of tomorrow and that heavy dread of the unknown, it actually just automatically evaporates. Think about it. If you truly believe the universe is being managed by a compassionate architect, the absolute crushing burden of trying to control the uncontrollable is finally lifted right off your shoulders. Because of that, in this framework, there is absolutely zero room for despair. Why? Because the door to hope, repentance, and fresh starts is just endlessly open. The human soul is granted this limitless sense of tranquility because it intrinsically knows that mistakes are not the end of the road. No matter what, there is always a pathway back to peace.
Section 4. Society, resilience, and purpose. Building a safety net and taking action.
Now, the author heavily emphasizes that we are definitely not meant to live on isolated islands. We desperately need a social safety net. And in practical terms, that means honoring your parents, strengthening family ties, showing genuine kindness to your neighbors, and upholding justice. When you weave all these specific societal values together, you create an incredibly powerful, resilient community. With these elements in place, the text argues that no single individual ever has to face the harshness of the world alone. You're supported. You've got backup.
Of course, worldly hardships are inevitably going to happen. The text definitely doesn't pretend that life is perfectly easy. But pay attention to the prescribed cure here. It's called tawakkul. It's such a fascinating concept. It's not about just passively accepting defeat or letting yourself be crushed by worldly fears. Actually, it's quite the opposite. Tawakkul is a dynamic, resilient blend. It means deeply trusting the divine process, while at the exact same time actively taking practical, patient steps to solve your problems. It essentially takes the heavy burden of the final outcome off your shoulders, which gives you the psychological endurance you need to just keep going.
The author makes this absolutely brilliant observation here. A miserable person hasn't actually lost their resources. What they've lost is their compass. Discovering your mission and your core purpose is what actually fuels your active work and contribution in the world. And it's only through this active contribution that you arrive at true internal happiness. It's this beautiful, continuous, highly productive loop. Which brings us to a wonderfully blunt and powerful statement from the text: laziness is the bitterest enemy of tranquility. True happiness, at least according to this methodology, outright rejects passivity. It's definitely not about sitting back on the couch and just waiting for joy to miraculously arrive. It demands that we move, that we produce, and that we actively become beneficial contributors to our own communities. You simply cannot find inner peace if you're actively avoiding your responsibilities. By looking back at historical models and the stories of past nations, the text proves that this isn't just some nice-sounding theory. Despite the temporary hardships or when the path initially looks like it's just filled with impossible obstacles, committing to a path of goodness, mercy, and justice always ultimately leads to profound peace and salvation. The long-term trajectory of a moral life always bends toward ultimate stability, regardless of whatever temporary chaos is happening at the moment.
Section 5. Resetting your inner compass. Stop chasing the mirage.
Happiness is not some impossible, elusive dream, guys. It's not this grand mystery wrapped in an enigma. As the text concludes, happiness is really just the natural, logical byproduct of living your life by a structured, moral compass. It's simple cause and effect. If you plant the seeds of mercy, justice, and kindness, the fruit you naturally harvest is psychological peace.
So the ultimate question the author leaves us to reflect upon, and exactly what I want to leave you with today, is this: are we finally ready to stop chasing that material mirage? Are we ready to abandon the illusion that the next big purchase is magically going to fix our anxiety and instead take the real practical steps to reset our inner compass toward true stability? It's a pretty profound question, and one that is absolutely well worth asking ourselves today. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and I really hope this map helps you navigate whatever comes next.
مؤسسة رسالة السلام العالمية، رسالة إنسانية لعالم أكثر سلاماً.